deserve an ounce. It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown. Let's go. I'm just telling you to fight for your dreams, but it's not what it seems. Man, it's hard to be seen when everybody wants to be king. Yeah, they all want a ring. Yeah, we all want to be free.
You know what we want? We want the draft. We want it, and we want it now, folks. We've been talking about the NFL draft for months, all off season. That's all we've been talking about. And guess what? We're just a couple days away from the 2023 NFL draft, where all our questions that we've been talking about, all the conversations will come to a head to see who the Lions get in the 2023 NFL draft. For today, I'm here with Ant-Man. What's going on, man?
Praise be, hallelujah, Mike. We have made it. It's been fun talking about all these prospects and that, but man, I'm seeing all this stuff about Will Levis been number one in the draft. I'm seeing all this about, I'm just like, right, let's get there now. This is getting to silly season. There are more smoke screens going up here than I've ever known before. It's like, I'm ready for the draft. I'm ready for the picks to be made. Let's do this.
Let's do this. You're right. Smoke screen, BS. That is the time of the year right now. And there's so much just piling in left and right that we're going to go ahead and try to sort through it and give you our thoughts about, is this legit? Is this BS? Is this smoke? Should you believe it? Should you worry? All of that. We may have more guests. I sent the link out to other guys of LNU. They'll jump in if they get it, and we're going to go through there. But we got Devon Davis, Grit, Paul Ginder, Chrome in the building. Oh, it's good. I got to tell you guys, and I'm sure you're the same way, Ant-Man, as well as you. I'm tired of doing mock drafts. I'm tired of talking about the draft. I'm ready to just do the thing.
Oh, 100%. I mean, it's gone to the point where even the players I like in this draft now, it's like I've talked about them enough. I can't do it anymore because I know people. I'm just recycling the same old stuff I've used before. My views are set. My board's ready. My big book of notes and everything is about together. I just want to see these picks made now and see what happens. And, more importantly, this is the next stage of the Brad Holmes evolution of this team. This is the one that could tip us over the edge into the playoffs. And I'm just so damn excited for it. It's just get here right now.
Get here right now. It's going to be here quick. Tomorrow, I'm going to be at Soaring Eagle Casino. I'll be doing it through Friday. Make sure you show up if you can, unlike Ant-Man, who's in a different country. Come on, show up, hang out Thursday from 6 to midnight, live. It'll be myself, Dose of Dion, everything, King. Maybe others will show up, but we know Herman Moore is going to be there. We got Devin Gardner hanging out. We got a lot of good people hanging out to talk beloved Detroit Lions, talk prospects, and get into this bad thing. It's going to be legit. Also, we got the new store for Lions Nation Unite up. A lot of cool gear. I'll be wearing all the gear tomorrow. It's legit. When you're watching it live, click it. If you're not live, I'm going to post in the comments. It's also in the description of the stream. And on my personal channel, I'm going to be marketing the hell out of that thing because we completely changed everything and we're getting to it. Yeah, man, make sure we get you some new gear and look all spiffy with some nice hats. Microwave, that's it right there. That is a microwave. But there was some big news. We're going to get to you guys' QA in a little bit. We're going to get to the draft here in a little bit. But big news that happened yesterday. Aaron Rodgers has left the NFC North. He's finally traded to the New York Jets. The era of Aaron, annoying us is over with. Thoughts on this one, Ant-Man?
I mean, part of me was hoping Aaron Rodgers was going to stay. I wanted that contract to carry on, bit of hindrance to that team, but it was never going to happen. He's gone, and good riddance. That is 3 decades of Hall of Fame quarterbacks in Green Bay at an end, and I think we can all say we're rather damn happy. I know we've done much better against him recently, but the division without him in it is a weaker one for it. And, the age of Aaron is over. The age of the Lions now needs to begin. This division is ripe for the taking. There is no one here who is that much better than us. We are one of the best teams in this division. It is up to us now to take that leap forward and make Green Bay forget about those good old days with Aaron Rodgers and that, and welcome them to the nightmare of Jordan Love as we ascend to the top.
It's time for the Lions to ascend on top. It's time. There's no excuses in my book.
Nope.
This year is made for the Lions. I don't want to hear no excuses. Lions need to take this north, take the horns by the head, and just freaking ram this bad boy down its throat. That's what the Detroit Lions need to do to the NFC North. This is our year. It is our time. But what hindered that and hurt us was Jameson Williams being suspended for 6 games due to betting. What is your thoughts about the Jameson Williams situation? Are you starting to get worried about this guy?
No, I'm not. And I know this is probably the unpopular opinion at the minute, but I mean, what he did was stupid. It was very stupid, and he's earned the 6-game suspension, and he shouldn't really have done it. But he bet on a college football game. He's not shot someone. He's not stabbed someone. This is not beating up a woman. This is a very minor infringement for me in the scale of giving up on someone as a person. I'm not going to do that right now. Yes, I'm annoyed with him, but J-Mo's under a lot of pressure. There is a lot of expectation. For these superstar wide receivers, they get a lot more scrutiny put on them than, say, an offensive guard who comes in or a tight end who comes in. They're always under the limelight. They're always getting nitpicked, as you've seen recently with J-Mo. Even before any of this came out, J-Mo was getting what I thought was a lot of unnecessary attention, negatively from people who seem to have moved on to him now that Jeff Okudah has gone. I don't know. There's just elements of this fan base that seem to love to have a player to hate, and he's it at the minute. I'm going to support him. He's going to come back after his 6 games. As long as he comes back, he hits the ground running, and he shows that he's learned from his mistakes, and he's got, he's going to be good for this team, then I don't care. So for now, the work ethic stuff, I'm not buying into that right now, and he's placed a bet on a college football game. It's stupid, but I'm nowhere near close to giving up on him. I back him 100%. He's our guy, and I want him to be a superstar. So hopefully he will be going forward. But it is disappointing. But, the Lions took action against all those who did it. It was swift. I don't think there's a culture problem here. I just think it's a little hiccup on the road to where we want to go.
Well, if it was a culture problem, they wouldn't have just let these guys go. And that's exactly what they did. CJ Moore, they gave this dude a bonus. Boom, cut. Cephas, boom, cut. The other guy's not even going to make the team anyway, so the only one that really matters here is Jameson Williams. It was a dumb decision by him. It was stupid. Yes, the rule's stupid, but at the end of the day, it's a rule. Rule's a rule. You got to follow the rules. He needs to learn from that, move forward. He's got to come out of the gate, firing on all cylinders, no playing around here. This is time to win the NFC North. We need all hands on deck. He needs to come in there and get it done. With him unavailable for 6 games, Cephas being cut, do you think the Lions have a little more urgency now, wide receiver, in the draft? Do you think that they may draft one a little bit earlier than we would expect?
Not particularly, no. So the big need for the draft in terms of the Lions case is an outside X receiver. That's always been the case, and that was a priority before this because J-Mo is not that. So I think the priority level remains the same. I like our depth options when you've got Reynolds in there, you've got Raymond in there. I think our depth room is good. Marvin Jones is back. Amon-Ra is obviously a complete stud. J-Mo will be back eventually. I think priority is exactly the same. It just depends whether they want to go big on an outside receiver, say Quentin Johnson in the first round, or whether they're going to wait till the back end of day 2 or something like that. But no, it doesn't really change the priority for me. But we will draft a receiver in the first 2 days, I believe.
I agree. I think that it maybe could be a little bit early, 3rd round. I don't think it still is a major need. I don't think they need to push it at anything. Even if you get a guy, see if you draft a Quentin Johnston, right? It's not like he's a veteran. It's going to be a rookie still. It takes a little bit of time for a majority of rookies to get going unless you're Jamar Chase. It really does. So you can still get a guy in round 3 or round 5, a big body guy that can get some of these catches. And I think that'd be perfectly fine. So let's go ahead and get to the latest draft rumors. Just wanted to get the other stuff out of the way with the first 10 minutes. But before we do that, we got a super chat from Steve Shattuck. $4.99. Shout out to you. Steve is a real one. Show some love to Steve. Says, we'll be interested in preseason when he can play, how he handles reps in practice. I think he'll get a ton of reps, Jameson Williams. Probably a ton in training camp and in preseason. Just a ton in preseason. Why? Because he needs to get out there and get those reps in. Even if it's with a backup quarterback, he's got to get some sort of playing on the field.
Yeah, I think that's one of the critical things for me. If he'd have been suspended for the offseason as well, my mood might be a little bit different. But he can do the OTAs, he can do training, he can do absolutely everything up to and just not including playing the actual games on Sundays. So he will get his full off season, which is the most critical part of all this. So the fact that he can do that is a big positive because he'll have that all under his belt and he'll be raring to go week 7. And, if we start well next year and we can add him to that going forward, then, offense is going to be a monster next year. So, yeah, I'm glad he can do the off-season stuff. And I think I'm with you. They will use him a ton because he needs the reps.
He needs the reps in preseason. Use him. Act like he is a backup wide receiver. Get this guy some reps. He needs to be on the field. That's the thing he needs, to be on the field. We've seen enough off the field. It's time for him to get on the field. So a lot of rumors are flying around in this draft. We're going to go through each one. We're going to give you our thoughts on it. Is it real? Is it BS? The first one dropped yesterday, Ant-Man, and that was that the Lions were making phone calls of trading down from 18. Looking maybe in the 20s or something like that. Do you think that this is a legit rumor? Do you think it's BS? Do you think they do it? Do you think they not?
I think it's legit because the one thing we know about Brad will take talent at the position he's available at. He won't trade back for picks if there's talent on the spot. Again, I say this all the time. He didn't trade back from Penny's spot. He didn't trade back from Aiden's spot. He took the legit talent. That's why I don't think he'll trade back from 6 to Devon or Jalen or anyone's there, or Anthony Richardson for that matter. If they're all there at 6, he'll take whoever's there, I believe, because he likes talent. At 18, it's a little bit murkier. I hate this first round class this year, personally. I think it's bereft of first round talent. And I think Brad Holmes feels the same. If you look at 18, who are you targeting there? If Porter's there and you ain't taking a corner first up, I don't think he gets past Pittsburgh. Branch, maybe. I love Branch at 18, but some would say maybe that's a bit too high. So I think he's thinking that at 18, there are very few actual guys he can draft there who he will be happy getting value for. So if he could draft back to 23 or 24, still get Brian Branch and get some more picks with it, I think he would do that because that's how he operates. That's why I'm more willing to believe that he will trade down from 18. I don't think he will from 6 because, 18, I don't see many people there worth taking.
I say this is legit because I think every general manager does this. You make phone calls for a situation right before the draft that could take place during the draft. So everything is in place. You don't have to do all these negotiating with the 10 minutes that you got on there. It's already been talked about. Okay, if this happens, call this team up. Look, we're willing to trade down if you get your guy that comes up. I think that's really important. Maybe like a Trenton Simpson, they value him, but they don't value him at 18. You know what? We'll just trade back a little bit. We'll get some more capital, and we'll get him at 25 or whatever position they're wanting to do. But I think all general managers, folks, do this. And it's important for them to do this. It's important to have the trades, at least kind of parameters in place just in case something happens. So when the situation happens, it's quick. There's not a lot of discussing. It just happens. Devin Davis with a $2 super chat. Does Moore and Cephas still get paid? Yes. Moore gets his bonus, and that hurts the Detroit Lions. So he's getting paid. Cephas, I don't exactly know what his pay was. I know it's pretty much garbage, so it wouldn't really matter. He was getting paid veteran minimum, I do believe. It was a minimum type of pay there. But yes, they get to keep their pay due to the cut. And what the other trade rumor is the Lions trading up to 3. And the last rumor was it would be the Lions giving up 18 and 6 to go to 3. I think that's ridiculous. I don't think they would give up 18 and 6 to go to 3 to acquire a Will Anderson or whoever they want to get. I do think they have made phone calls, just like many other teams made phone calls with the Arizona Cardinals, exploring options, what it would take to jump up to that 3rd spot. But I do not believe Brad Holmes would give up the 18th pick to jump up to 3. What is your thoughts on this one?
I'm not sure either. I'm like you, Mike. I'm not entirely sure, but for me, the prospect of going up has been more appealing. The longer time has gone on, and the more I've thought about it. If Will Anderson is sat there at 3, I'm strongly considering it. And why? Because we'll go back to what we opened the show with Aaron Rodgers. The NFC North is there to be taken. And you've seen Brad Holmes' emphasis switch in free agency. He has seen her window, just like we are all seeing a window, to get to the top of the division. They do not appear very often. You get to the top, you keep improving to stay there. And I think that for this draft, I can see a lot of trade ups for less talent, for less players, but better talent. And I would happily do that. If they go up for Will Anderson, I think he's going to be a lot better than anything we might get at 6 if Jalen and him are gone and the quarterbacks are gone. I think he would be a big
100%.
Big part of this team going forward. I think one of the 2nds and the 3rds might get packaged up into the 1st. I think the 6s and the 5s that we have will get packaged up to go for a 4. Let's not forget, Dan Campbell was, 6 years ago now, he's at New Orleans. They had that 2017 draft class. There were only 7 guys in it, and it was one of the best draft classes in the modern era. It's getting the right players at the right pick, not getting loads. We don't need 10 or 11 draft picks. We don't need it. We need 6 or 7 high-quality guys, add them to this team. They make us a serious player in the NFC North now, and I think Brad will be aggressive in going out to get his guys now that this window is open. So if we did it, I would not mind it at all. Will he do it? I'm with you. If the price is too high, he won't go near it. All depends what it is. But I'm more and more leaning towards doing it.
Thank you so much there, Dragon fan. Appreciate it. Love the new car as well. Shout out to 9 Drinks and Lisa. Been talking to her on the side. Really good person. I appreciate the conversations that we've had. It's really nice when people reach out like that. So I appreciate you guys for sure. And 9 Drinks, you already know. You already know. I agree with you. I think absolutely should consider it to jump up to 3. I would love to have 2 bookend edge rushers in Aiden Hutchinson, Will Anderson. Imagine that, folks. Imagine. Do you care what we gave up to get Jamison Williams if he comes out and be a stud this year? You're not going to care about it. It's already 3rd round pick or whatever it was. Oh, big deal. Are you going to care if you give up a 2nd round pick if Will Anderson and Aiden Hutchinson are just wreaking havoc on quarterbacks? No. I mean, Levon Wuzurike, 2nd round pick. So this is the thing that I'm saying here. If they do it, I'm for it. But I'm not for giving up the 18th pick. I think that's way too much for me. A 2nd round pick, maybe a 3rd round pick, I could do that. And I agree with you with getting a 4th round pick. I 100% believe we're going to have a 4th round pick. I do believe that they're going to package a 5 and a 6 and move up to round 4. My final mock draft drops tomorrow on my personal channel, 11 in the morning. I'm just telling you right now, we have a 4th round pick in there. Because I 100% agree with you that they're going to trade up into the 4th round and get a player for sure. But yeah, look, I would love Will Anderson on this team. The only issue I have is what it would have to give up, because I know there's teams like the Titans looking to trade up, and that value pick at 13 is exploded. When the Chicago Bears trade with the Panthers, I said the biggest winner was the Arizona Cardinals of that trade, because that pick just became extremely valuable. And right now, they're going to get a lot of good stuff for that. Thank you, my guy, Philip C. They're going to get a lot of value out of that number 3 pick, but you got to make a phone call, see if there's anything there. Another rumor around. It's not the Detroit Lions rumor, but it does affect the Detroit Lions. Rumor is Texans going to take Will Anderson. Before I give you your thoughts, what you think of it, I think it's BS. I don't think that they're going to take an edge rusher. I think they're going to take a quarterback. It's hard for me to believe this team going in this season without a quarterback. I think that would be a terrible decision. I think they do take a quarterback. But what are your thoughts on this rumor? Do you think it's a BS? Do you think it's real?
I think it's absolute balderdash, as we would say over here in the UK. I believe it's all lies. And I believe it's all lies because if you can convince teams that you're not going quarterback, then, and it is Will Anderson, maybe you're going to pressure the Colts into jumping up. Because don't forget, you've said that Cardinals pick is there at 3. If someone jumps the Cardinals if someone jumps the Colts for a quarterback, and they think, oh, hang on, actually, there's a spare spot there at 2 where they're not going to take one, I can go there and we can do some business together. Ramps up the value of that price. If someone's coming from a bit further back, it ramps up the value of that pick. But the Texans already have 12. So I don't believe they're wanting to trade back. I think they've already got a lot of capital this year. And they are a bad team who need to put some blue chip players on that team. They need a quarterback. You don't just trade back for a lot more picks. This is what Brad Holmes done. Brad Holmes has put blue chip players on this team. He's not bothered about trading back and getting just tons of guys. It's getting the right guys. If the Texans are smart, which maybe they're not, they will be doing the same right now. But I believe it's entirely a smokescreen to drive up the price of those picks and to see if anyone is willing to come all the way up to 2, because they could fleece them for a king's ransom if they do that, and they might decide that's better than a quarterback. So, but no, it's all lies. There'll be quarterbacks 1 and 2 for me.
Steve Wilds thinks that Anderson's going 2. I just have a hard time believing it. I really, really do. You need a quarterback. CJ Stroud is sitting right there, or Bryce Young, whoever it is. You're going to take an edge rusher. I just have a real difficult time thinking that. And, we'll see there in the draft. Teams are teams. They do crazy things, right? They're not us. They're not Mel Kiper, Todd McShaney, these guys. They're going to do what they do, but I'm with you. I think it's hard for me to believe that. They need a quarterback. Quarterback's sitting there. It's a good quarterback draft. Go ahead and get the freaking quarterback. You got another pick at 12. Like you said, if you want to get an edge rusher, you can go get an edge rusher right there. There's plenty of these guys in this year's draft, just a ton of them. You don't have to take one at 2, because then you would have an issue at quarterback at 12. So, crazy little beep there. Another rumor going around is CJ Stroud falling to the Lions at 6 or 7. Him actually falling. I heard this today. I don't think it's real. I have a hard time believing CJ Stroud's going to fall to 6 and be available at the Lions at the 6th pick. With the teams that need a quarterback, like the Tennessee Titans, even a team like the Seattle Seahawks, who Geno is 32 years old, it is hard for me to see him fall. Do you think he falls? Do you think it's legit? Do you think it's BS?
I think it's BS. And again, this is the old adage I use, that you base 95% of your player evaluation on tape, because that is what it is all about. Because that rumor came out about him scoring badly on the test system. I can't remember what they're called. And then the guy who created them was like, oh, that's rubbish. That these scores are made up. And all this stuff is done to try and tank a player's stock. You have to keep going back to the thing, which is their tape on the field. And nothing has changed from CJ Stroud's tape from the end of the season to now. He's tested pretty well in the pajama games and everything. And there's no reason for him to just fall like that. So, no, I don't think he will. I still think he's a serious 1 at 1. I still think he's the type of quarterback that Carolina preferred to Bryce Young. I still think Bryce Young is the best quarterback in this draft, but he won't drop. He won't drop past the Seahawks. I've been saying this for a long time with the Seahawks. Everyone says defender, but you don't give Geno Smith 60-odd million of his $102 million contract over the next 3 years this year if you believe in him in the future. He's a stopgap. He is a placement guy, and they may not pick this high again. They're only there because it's the Broncos pick. They have to take a quarterback now because they might not be in a position to get one. So I'm still adamant the Seahawks will go. And if CJ Stroud falls to 5, they'll run that pick in really damn quick. He will not make it past them. I can tell you that now for sure.
Another rumor that came out is that Jalen Carter is off the Lions draft board. I agree that this is a legit rumor. I've been saying it ever since the incident. From what I've been hearing is they would pass on him at 18 if he was available there. I 100% believe this is true. Yeah, he is off their draft board. I do not believe the Lions draft him. I 100% believe this rumor is true. I've heard it from multiple people. It's been consistent. Folks, I do not believe the Lions draft Jalen Carter if he's available at 6. Your thoughts on this one?
See, I've not actually heard that rumor. That's the first one. I know people have sort of insinuated it in the past, but again, I don't know, because he is a blue chip prospect. Whether you like his attitude or you don't like his attitude, He is a blue chip guy. And if Brad Holmes thinks that they are capable of, putting him in an environment where he's going to flourish and do better, and let us not forget, after the interview he did when they hosted him, they said a lot of the fears about him had been alleviated. That's Brad Holmes himself telling you that. So I don't think he's entirely off the board. I think they're going to have a very long and difficult conversation about it if he's there at 6. But you've got to add talent. I mean, we had the same argument about Micah Parsons a few years back. He's a bad egg. He's done all this stuff at Penn State. He's got to be no good for us. One of the best edge rushers in the NFL, and he's only in year 3. You have got to take into consideration everything. You can't just say he's not the type of player we don't want. We're not going to draft him. You're not going to have 53 angels on your team. You need a few bad eggs with egos who are just going to go out there and think they're better than everybody else and play that way. And so for that reason, I can't believe they're completely going to discount him. If he's there, I think there'll be very serious discussions about it.
$20 super chat from my man Mike McCall. Show Mike McCall some love in the comments below. It says hashtag FGB, love it. I cannot wait for the draft. I know Brad Holmes is going to shock us. What the hell was up with John Pennicini retiring, and then we release him and he signs Elfer? We could have really used him. I don't know I didn't even know he was on the team. I completely forgot about John Pennicini, the big Pen 15. I forgot about Pen 15. That was weird, Mike. I seen that and I talked to Jeff Riz. I said, I didn't even realize this guy was on the team. And he goes, I didn't know either. So yeah, that was a weird thing. I don't know. Maybe he didn't have any money and he's like, oh, I better play. Who knows what's going on with the Pen 15? What'd you think about that weird situation there?
It's a shame. We all here had a real soft spot for Pennicini. Don't forget, 7th round pick, worked his way into the team, played through injury in that last season under Patricia, and worked his ass off to get into the rotation and played pretty well. You always have a soft spot for guys like that, those gritty guys who get drafted late, fighting for a roster spot, who make it. So I was gutted when he retired, and it was galling to see that he'd come back and he didn't want to be part of here no more. But I just think it's an offshoot from the Patricia era. How many guys have we seen who just got used and abused and thrown away? And I think maybe it was just time for him to get a fresh start elsewhere. So I wish him all the best, and I hope he really does well. But I do wish he'd stayed with us. But we've got Bugs, we've got Benito, we've got Demetrius Taylor, we've got these guys in the middle now. We've got depth there. We need a starter at this point. And I don't think he'd have been a starter. So I don't think he would have fit us at this moment in time. So, but I wish him the best.
John Penn 15 was really hard. He was one of those guys that was very hard, and he really was the clogger of the Lions interior. Like, he would clog those holes like no other. Real stiff with the competition, real explosive at the line, and when he was done, it was a destruction like we've never seen before. Just is what it is. Another rumor is these players the Lions could draft at 6. Will Anderson, of course. Devon Witherspoon, of course. Peter Skoronski. What is your thoughts about those 3?
You know me, I've been talking about Devon since the start of the college football season. I just love him. I love the fit. I love the player. I think out of this draft, he's probably one of the most Lions players you could say. He fits everything you want here. Obviously, Anderson, you want to take him there at this point as well. Skoronski, I can see this. I can see it. And I've kind of been advocating for O-line depth. We need it at the next level. We need to start preparing the guys of the future. We're going to need a right guard next year. And depending on whether they pay Jonah or not, which I hope they do, we might need a left guard as well. So Skoronski's probably going to kick inside, but he can play at tackle. And the one thing about that Northwestern system, you've seen it with Rashawn Slater. I mean, Rashawn Slater was undersized like Skoronski is. That's what they tell. It's undersized. But their technique is flawless. The way they play, the fundamentals they play with. They did a great interview with their O-line coach not so long ago at Northwestern. And it's very easy to like him. He creates players who are just so technically good at the next level. And I think Hank Fraley will love that. You know, he is a guy who can unlock all this potential that's still there with them, who can use them well. Out of them all, Skoronski is the best technically out of the lot of them. So you sit him for a year, you give him some rotation, you work him in a little bit. He will be a high-level starter, and we've seen with Rashawn Slater, he can be a success at the next level, despite not being your typical NFL size. So it wouldn't be my first choice, but if they did draft him, I could understand why, and for the long term, I'd absolutely love it.
It is the mailbag segment. So if you got questions, put hashtag Lions, hashtag Ant-Man, hashtag Baldman, whatever you want to get our attention. If I miss it, just copy, repaste it. Why? Because we're going to miss it. That's just what happens. Peter Skoronski is on the table, and I do believe it. And I know a lot of people would be mad. I actually went and got gas. I was walking out, and a guy yelled, "They better go defense with that first pick." And I just started laughing. I said, I think they are. But it could be Peter Skoronski because, like you were saying, we do have a need at guard. And guess what? He can play guard this year, and you can move him to right side, and you can move Sewell to the left side next year. It keeps this offensive line really good. So it's something that they definitely could do. I still think that the odds, I think it's Tyree Wilson if he's available. Will Anderson would be my number one if he's available, obviously. I think it's defense, probably like 75%, but Peter Skoronski at 25%. If we trade back with the Eagles, is Anthony Richardson at play at 10? No, because he's not going to be available at 10. Anthony Richardson will not be available at pick 10. He's going to be, I suggest a top 5 draft pick. He won't make it past Seattle. What's your thoughts on Anthony Richardson?
Yeah, he's not going to make it that far. It's so complicated with AR. We are in the perfect situation to sit him and develop him. But there's just so much that could go wrong with it. But I'm not going to lie. I love the player. I know there are issues with him, but he's the cleverest quarterback in this class. He just needs to get some of the basics together. And most importantly, he needs to get his footwork sorted.
Reps.
But it's muscle memory,
games.
reps. And we've seen what Brunel has done with Goff in fixing some of his technique, in sorting out some of the mental aspects of his game. And if he can do that with Jared Goff, he sure as hell can do it with Anthony Richardson. So again, it would not be my first pick like Skoronski, but if we did it, I understand why, because that is long-term. It's long-term sustainability building for your franchise to have him ready to go next, because you need a succession plan for Goff, whether we like Goff or not. We do. So
I just don't see him available at 6. You'd have to go
I don't. You've got to go up. I mean, if Brad Holmes traded back to 10 and got Anthony Richardson, he'd win GM of the decade.
GM of the decade.
Yeah,
it's
just
not
give
happening
it him now.
There's no way this dude falls. He's only had 13 games, and that's the reason why he's raw as the way he is. 13 games, not much. Hashtag FGB, do you think that Slay stays since Patricia is coach? Yeah, I do. But I have a feeling that Patricia's not going to tell him to suck his D this time. I just got that feeling right there. And Slay just can't get away from that guy. The Ronin99, hashtag Micro Mike. Do we need to spend a first round on a backup offensive lineman? Lots of guys available later. I don't think you have to go for first round. You could. You can go at 18, or if you trade it back a little bit like Osiris Torrance. There's a lot of good guys in this draft that you can get in round 2, round 3 as well. Offensive line, specifically guards, there's damn good ones throughout the whole draft. Remember, we got Larry Warford in what round? 3. Remember, Jonah Jackson, what round? 3. It's just one of those things where you can find some good guards in there. You're not forced to. Can you? Absolutely. Like if you wanted to get Osiris Torrance or something like that, 100% you could. No doubt about it. Have you done a burnout in your new car yet? Yes, I actually just did with my kid in the car. It was really fun. I said, you want to feel something? She goes, yeah. What? She really liked it. Wake up, everyone. There we go. Let's see. Thoughts on Will Levis odds? If he goes early, how much does it help or hurt us? I think it's possible quarterbacks go 1, 2, 3, 4. I could care less where he goes specifically. It's just how many quarterbacks go in the top 4. That will pretty much determine what happens to us. I don't know. Could the Colts take him? Possible. I don't like Will Levis as much as the other guys, but I'm not an NFL franchise, and quarterbacks, a lot of people would jump up there. So I think he's probably gone before for the Lions pick. I do. So that could push a player down that we want for sure. So we all got to hope that these quarterbacks go fast. That's what we want. We want one of these premium talents to fall to the Lions. That's what we need. Lisa, hashtag FGB. I do believe Brad Holmes will draft in the trenches no matter what. If not, trade back from 6. I agree, Lisa. I think Tyree Wilson is, Tyree Wilson, or if Will Anderson somehow landed there, I think that could be the guy. I do think the trenches is what they would like to get. And if they don't go trenches at 6, Kalijah Cansey could be an option there at 18. And if they didn't go there, you can look at other defensive linemen in round 2. But I do think they're going to solidify that defensive line. I think it's a priority. I think they're going to get it done. I know you shook your head on Tyree Wilson, but there's a lot of love towards this guy, Ant-Man, and we're not the ones making the pick. It's them that are doing it.
No, 100%. And if he becomes a Lion, I back him 100%.
Yep.
That's the way with all these. I have my views on draft prospects, but then as soon as they're drafted, that's all out the window. You're one of our guys now. I start rooting for you. So
this is a situation all over again.
Yeah, it is. It's all personal preference. But the second you're a Lion, you're my guy, and I'll back you till the end. So
100%. That's the way I take the draft is, look, if he goes people I don't like, I'll back him 100%. I want whoever it is the Honolulu Blue to succeed. We all have our personal preferences, and we all want specific players. That's just the way it is. Joey Detroit Lions one says, what do you think on picking Gibbs, the running back? The way I'm hearing it now is he's going to be a first-round running back is what I'm hearing. Kansas City could be an option there if he goes before that, but I'm not willing to take Gibbs at 18. Not going to do that. So unless you traded back maybe from 18 to the mid or late 20s, I still have a second-round grade on him. I'm not going to take him in round 1, but what do you think about taking Gibbs?
I love Jahmyr Gibbs. I really do. As he's the best receiving back in the draft, and as a runner, he's done it at G5 and Power 5 levels. So it doesn't matter whether he's behind a bad O-line, good O-line. The man just runs the football with speed, strength, and ability. So I agree. He is not going to be there by our 3rd pick. So he's going to be long gone. So unfortunately, I think if we don't trade, if this is a theoretical no trade situation, he falls in that void way too far from us, where you either really reach for him, which we don't need to do now. We don't need to really reach for a running back, or you've got to trade up some capital to go and get him. And again, I wouldn't do that because of how deep the running back class is. But if Jahmyr fell to our laps somewhere, I'd take him in a heartbeat. I think he's a tremendous player, and I think he's going to be great at the NFL level.
If the Lions don't take a running back, Bijan Robinson in round 1, and if he somehow, which I don't think he'll be there in round 2, I would have no problem with it. I just want to take him at 18. I think Bijan Robinson potentially could be there at 18, so I just wouldn't be comfortable with that. Ant-Man, your wide receiver preference?
So I'm all in on the outside receivers this year. So Nassau has been my favorite for a very long time from BYU. I just think he's the exact perfect scheme fit for the Lions, and I can train him up over time, and he's going to be great. And then after that, it's guys like Bryce Ford-Wheaton, Andre Yoshivas. If you're going to go day 2, then I'd take Xavier Hutchinson from Iowa State. Again, another big-bodied outside guy. Comes from a system where they put a lot of emphasis on blocking for wide receivers. You need to do that at the Lions. You're not going to get a flashy wide receiver who don't block or don't do the nitty-gritty dirty work, so you've got to look for those guys. But Nassau is there, Yoshivas, Ford-Wheaton, and Hutchinson. They're the 4 I'd really look at for us.
Hashtag Smashers Hole. This is unlikely, but what if Stroud and Anderson are available at 6? Who are you taking? I'm taking it. That would be the craziest fall of all time. Man, that's difficult. Look, I probably take Will Anderson still, just because at that point, he's still BPA to me. And it's something that would, even though the position of quarterback is more like of a position, but I want to win the NFC North now. And I think Will Anderson would help win it right now, even though CJ Stroud would probably, it'd help out the team for the long term. What would you do if a situation like that occurred?
I'd draft Anderson at 6, and then I'd get 18 and one of my seconds and maybe a future pick. I would trade up to 7 and I'd get Stroud. I'd take them both.
Back to back. You going back to back. I call that a 7-10 split right there.
The theoretic, if Anderson and Carter in theory fell, if 4 quarterbacks and Tyree Wilson went the top 5 and Anderson and Carter are there, I'd do that. I'd get one at 6 and the other at 7 and trade up for them and just be like, yeah, you're all going to die next year, whichever quarterback faces us. Just you inject talent into your team. Brad takes blue chip talent. He doesn't trade it away. That is the one thing I think I can consistently say with him, is he will not give up a prized player for anything.
My man wants an ultra combo for Karen Rodgers leaving the North.
Ultra combo breaker.
Do one more time.
Ultra combo breaker.
Yeah, he's out of the North. Karen is gone, and we don't have to hear this guy anymore. Is there a reason Brad doesn't care about linebackers and tight ends? Well, he does't really put a lot of emphasis on linebackers because they're more of the defensive line and they can use safeties. It's kind of like a 2 linebacker set that we go on here. And I don't know exactly the reason why he generally doesn't take a linebacker in round 1. He just doesn't. I don't know if that's the case with tight ends. I just think it's a situation where TJ Hawkinson wasn't really doing what we wanted him to do. We don't use tight ends that much in our system. So I wouldn't really say anything about the tight ends on that. What's your thoughts on that question?
I think he doesn't like linebackers because he hates me, because I love linebackers.
He hates both of us then. I love him too.
He's like, you know what? All them damn social media, all those content creators on YouTube want a linebacker. Well, screw the lot of you.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take one. I think these first 2 years, we've had a bad team. This has all been about Brad building his trenches, building his core. Linebacker and tight end doesn't really come under that remit. He's been solidifying his defensive line. He's been building the offensive line. Mm-hmm. That part is kind of done now. So I can see the position where some more skilled players, whether sort of coverage linebacker types, the pass threat tight end, if you think you can make a good enough blocker out of him, I think they will come into play more now that he's built his fundamental areas of this team. So after this year, he may change his tune. Who knows?
Thoughts on Hyatt getting drafted in round 2, Ant-Man?
Drafted in round 2. Jalen Hyatt, there's a lot of hype about him. He's getting round 1, sort of praised now. I mean, you say the Chiefs might take a running back. I think the Chiefs take a wide receiver. I think Zay Flowers is in consideration there.
Yep,
so
they could.
And Jalen Hyatt sort of falls into that category. He's very speedy on the outside. Chiefs like those kind of guys. Mm-hmm. So I think Hyatt could be there at 32 if Zay Flowers has gone by that point, or they could both be in consideration together because Hyatt obviously has the height over him as well. So yeah, it's interesting.
Good day, good prayers, Kevin Greeno. I like Steve Veal at 18. He could play center, guard, and tackle at his size. I like him at 48. 18, I think, is a little bit rich for me. I still feel, hell, even who knows? Peter Skoronski could actually be there. Who knows, right? But I think Cyrus Torrance, I'd have him above Steve Avila. I would take Avila, though, in round 2. I think that would be a great selection if he's available. He's a really good player. Where would you take Avila?
You'd be looking at him in the 50s, wouldn't you, for us? So, I'd take him in the 50s, maybe. I think if I'm going to do that with Avila, like I say, he's very versatile, kind of the guy you want to look at there as well. But I think he will be in consideration. And I think if some of those centers fall, I think they'll be in consideration as well. You think Schmitz, you think Tipperman, you think Oluwatimi. These Big Tens, they've got some very powerful centers who can play out a guard as well. So I would expect them to be very much in consideration. I think that's more likely than going O-line in round 1. I think one of 51 or 55 or 48 or 55 could be one of those guys for sure.
Justin Big Arms Chase says #Alpha Kenny Body. Which second and third round receivers are your favorite, and do you think they may not even grab another receiver? I think they do get a receiver. It could be in round 3. It could be in round 5. Second round receivers. I haven't really paid a lot of attention to that round. Maybe I should have. The thing is, I just don't think they're going to go there. What are some receivers you think the Lions could get in round 2 that could help them out? Because I'm around round five receivers. That's kind of what I'm looking at, 5, 6.
Yeah, that's sort of the guys I like: Ford Wheaton, Nasua Yoshif. I said day 3 guys, but if you are going to go day 2, the guy I'd immediately zero in on would be Rashee Rice, the SMU wide receiver on the outside. Got speed, 4 days, got the build you're looking for. Maybe not the traditional sort of X we're looking for, but I'd be all over Rashee Rice if we went for him. And Xavier Hutchinson as well. I did mention him. He will be a day 2 pick. So, yeah, if I'm going day 2, it would be Xavier Hutchinson or Rashee Rice for sure. I would love one of those two.
Alex Haggerty, hashtag Lions. Would you trade Tennessee for 1341 and a 2024 second round pick? This was posed by Peter Schrager on Good Morning Football. Context: Steve Stroud available. Anderson, Carter, Wilson are gone. So we would get a second rounder next year. 13. Tennessee, I think, has got to pick 11. I thought Tennessee's got to pick 11. And it'd be 1141 and a second
Packers
rounder.
have 13, don't they now?
What's that?
Packers have got 13 now.
Packers got 13 now, yeah. So for 1141 and a second rounder, and CJ Stroud's on the board, that's difficult. You know what? I would say yes. I would do it because I feel like I get a Devon Witherspoon then at 11. I definitely could get him. You get another second round pick where you can move up back in the first round. So you ultimately would have 3 first round picks. The next year you have another second round pick to where if something doesn't work out or if you really covet a player, you can move up in the draft and get your player next year. What's your thoughts on this one?
Like I've said,
yep.
If there is a blue chip guy at 6 or there is a highly talented player at 6, he will not trade that away. He will go and get that player. So I think the odds of a move down are very, very slim unless someone's willing to highly overpay, which I don't think they will. But if CJ Stroud is there at 6, that represents probably unbelievably good value at that point, like unreal good value for him to fall to you at 6. He would not pass him up, I don't think. You can't. Not if something like that happens. So... no, and I still think Witherspoon would be in the conversation at 6.
He is. He's going to be in the conversation. He is.
People are acting like he's not worthy of that number 6 pick. They're like, oh, we can get him at 11 and 12. But I don't think you will. I think there's teams just after who will go after corners. I think the Raiders right behind us are probably going to go corner. They need a corner in that division they're in. Might be Gonzalez, but he'll be gone. Devon Witherspoon is worth the number 6 pick as a very damn good player. So
just
we
go
cannot
BPA.
Discount that. Exactly.
Just because his corner, just go BPA. If you watch him play, you'll understand. You'll understand. I would have no problem with Devon Witherspoon. I'm not going to get upset about it at all. It's not Jeff Okudah. It's just because you drafted a guy who sucked early a couple years ago doesn't mean this guy is going to suck. It's the same thing with Charles Rogers or Mike Williams. Calvin Johnson was nothing like those guys. So I know it's a corner and people really want to go that route, but this dude is a physical beast. He likes to hit people in the face. He reminds me of a better Quandre Diggs. Why I love Quandre Diggs in Detroit is he made wide receivers be scared because he hits them so damn hard, and that's what you want to have. Jordy Manchin, why so serious? Which player in the draft has the coolest name, and which player has the best head of hair? Ooh, that's a tough one. Dorian Thompson Robinson's got a cool name because it's so damn long. I don't know how it's going to fit on a jersey. That's a interesting one. Set of hair.
Cody Mauch.
Okay, Cody Mauch right there.
The guard from North Dakota. He has got, I think it's that long ginger hair look, which is like down to halfway down his back. It's like, I just wish I could have that. Not that long, but I wish I had like hair like him.
I wish I had hair.
I wish I had hair. Yeah. Imagine me with a mullet.
Hair.
Imagine me with a mullet. I just look so much different.
Do you need tickets for the draft show at Soaring Eagle? No tickets. Just show up. No tickets. It is free. Show up. Hang out with Herm. Hang out with the guys. It's going to be a fun time. Soaring Eagle Casino on Thursday, 6 to midnight. It's going to be fun. Devin Gardner's going to be there. Another guy's going to be there as a scout. The rest of us, it's going to be a good time. Free. Unless you're getting a hotel, then that's not going to be free. Breaking news, Titan just traded to number 3. Are you serious?
I've not seen it. It's nothing's been said.
Titans trade up to 3. Is this real?
No.
Pay attention, Mike. $1.99. Thank you for the super sticker chat. Will you draft BJ Rob says 6. Is this real? Come on, folks. I missed a lot. Let me know.
It's not real. I've not seen
not-
a thing about
okay.
it. None of the big guys have said anything about it. I've not even seen any other people say about it, so I don't think so.
Thank you for that super chat, my man. And I was paying attention. A lot of comments went fast. Using some format this year. Same format, but we're going to be at a casino. So we're going to be switching people in and out. There's going to be 3 of us on stage. And we'll be going in and out, give us pee breaks and stuff like that. So, but it's going to be in person live. So if you want to hang out, you can hang out. It's going to be really fun. So there'll be a bar scene. You get your drinks. It's going to be a great time on a stage. We're going to be having all sorts of fun. So yeah, and it'll be live. It will be live on Lions Nation Night. It's going to be live on my channel. I hooked it all together. So you're going to have it, and it's going to be fun. Going to be fun. So, yeah, I haven't seen anything. Breaking rooms are sold out at the Soaring Eagle Casino Thursday night, so I can't make it. Well, you may have to go to a different room. Definitely thinking about coming out to the casino. Yay, do it. Come on down. Come on out to the casino. If the Lions do real good this year, would you do some yelling for old time? Yeah, I would do yelling. I'm going to have to. It's going to be loud there at Soaring Eagle Casino. I'm going to have to yell. If they do something stupid. With the 6th pick, the Lions select Michael Mayer. There'd be one word coming out of my mouth, and it would rhyme with truck. So
you just need one of those on-air bleepers, wouldn't you, for about 30 seconds?
Yeah.
If the tirade came out.
Yeah, you'll get my yelling during the games. That's when I really get animated, and people's like, stop getting so mad. Shut up, man. It's an emotional game. I'm going to get emotional when the game's going on. We're all like that. You're telling me we're all just like this watching the game? Okay. Good job, guys. Oh, interception. No, we all know. We all are in front of the TV. Damn it, when an interception happens, or yes, we picked off Aaron Rodgers or whatever. So, yeah, we get excited. That's the way it should be. That's an emotional football game. So, yeah, definitely would be for sure. Let's see if I missed some questions. Is Jake Moody a Lion by Saturday? Do you think the Lions take Jake Moody?
No. In that order.
I mean, maybe as an undrafted rookie, but will he get drafted? He could get drafted for sure.
If Jake Moody kicked for Northwestern, we wouldn't know who he was.
Mm-hmm.
Are you hearing anything about any kickers in this draft class other than him? No. And we're only hearing about him because he's a local. No. Just no. He's not better than Money Badger.
Huggy Bear. Mike, if Aiden has year 2 progression expected, how many sacks? I'd probably say 12 sacks. I think it depends who's on the other side. If we got like a Will Anderson over there, it could be more. It could be much more, because then you're paying attention to the other guy, and it's not just Aiden Hutchinson, because he was getting a lot of double teams. So it kind of depends what kind of plays out in the draft as well. So ask me again next week, Tuesday, and I'll give you a much better answer for sure. Much better answer. We got a $5 super chat from my G, Paul Ginder. Paul Ginder, the G, #FGB. Would you guys trade a 2nd round pick, a 5th round pick, and a 6th round pick for another 1st round pick to have 3 1st round picks? Yeah, I would. Hell yeah. We got a ton of draft picks. I'll take another 1st rounder if a guy's falling. It depends who the guy is. I'm not going to just trade a 1st round pick just to have one, but it depends who it is. But I have no problem jumping up there. What about you?
I was just looking at the draft chart out of curiosity. It would cost more than that. A 5th and a 6th and a 2nd wouldn't be enough to get back up to the 1st. I mean, if we could pull that off, absolutely. But it would take more than that, unfortunately.
Show some love to Paul Ginder in the chat for being a real one. We appreciate you, Paul G. Always in there. I cannot swear more, by the way, unless it's on my personal channel. It's a little bit different. Hashtag Devin Davis says, with Cephas out, done. See the Lions picking up a free agent wideout. No one thought Cephas was making the team. I'm going to keep it 100 with you guys. I didn't have Cephas making the team. So when he got cut, it's like, oh, didn't really affect anything. Yeah, we won making the 53-man roster. That pretty much ended that when we picked up Marvin Jones Jr. So could they pick up a free agent wide receiver to compete in training camp? Yeah. Will that person make it? Probably not. What do you think?
No, I don't. I think we've got quite a few receivers in at the minute, and I expect us to draft some more. So I don't expect us to go in free agency for anybody else. No, not right away. No, but who knows? Maybe prove them wrong.
B the G Taylor, love B Taylor. You got to get on there with CJ Goodfella. Says, anyone heard of Witherspoon before this season? I know you have, Ant-Man.
I mean, I could probably say that about half the prospects in this
I
draft.
know,
Did you heard of
we
any
do,
one of them
all
before
of them.
this season?
I know.
You don't often hear about many players until they're coming out into the senior
Yep.
year and they're coming out into the draft year because they go under the radar. They're not, they're not in the spotlight at this point in time. It's draft prospects who get all the love, not guys who are staying in college. So I'd not before this season. I'd not really heard a great deal about him. He only popped up on my radar when I started doing the rankings pre-season for the next college season on, and his name was on there, and I checked him out. And that will be the same this year. There will be some really good college player I've never heard of who I will be introduced to in this offseason. That's kind of how it works.
I start my draft prospects week 4 of each of the NFL season. That's when I really start to really get down. So because I stick with it from week 4 and go all the way till draft day, and then I take a little bit of a break. Then I start back at it at week 4 of the NFL season because it just gets tired talking about it. But yeah, that's when I start my process. I know like TA Raw podcast, he's already started 2024 prospects. Same with Broshmo. Some people really get into that. I get into it, but not that much. I can't do a year out. That's a little bit too much for me. It is a lot talking about these prospects. It is absolutely. Hashtag Lions. Do the Lions have a cap hit on CJ Moore? Yeah, but I think it was like a 1.5 million for CJ Moore. Cephas was booty cheeks. I mean, this guy was veteran minimum, so it's nothing. I couldn't even. It doesn't even matter. Micro Mike, do you think there will be a lot of roster flux after new countdown date from 90 to 53? That's an interesting question. We had a question like that last week, similar. I'm really curious to see how it works out because it's a new process that's taking place. Is it going to be like names you wouldn't expect? I don't know. So there is going to be a major flux, and I wonder how that process. That's a question, Ronan, that I don't know until it happens. This is the first time it's going to happen. What do you think about this? It's going to be a new process. It's going to be everyone dumped at one time from all the NFL, not just one team.
I do and I don't like it. I kind of like it because those guys on the fringes of the first couple of cuts who you're not really sure about, they've got more time to ultimately work their way onto the team because they'll get to play all the preseason games now. But we've also done pretty well picking up players from these first few cuts and putting them on our team as well. So the way Holmes has worked, it's kind of been a good thing for us that it's been in stages and we've got guys off. Now it's just going to be, you're going to have like 1,000 guys cut in a day. It's going to be a free for all. I think it's going to be crazy. And you could potentially end up having to pay bigger wages to some of these guys. If 10 teams are after a player who's been cut, you're in competition. You might miss out on more talent. So I don't like it and I do, but there'll be a lot of players who are going to be out of jobs right before the season because they've got no time to get on another team. So I don't get why the problem was. What is it? 5 players cut, 30 odd players cut. I mean, you're not cutting that many before, but those guys who do get cut have a chance to make plans and then other teams have a chance to steal them. Other teams make mistakes. I don't like it on the whole. Yeah,
the waiver wire is going to be interesting how this thing works. It's going to be a massive ass waiver wire. So it's going to be just much larger than we're used to. So, we'll see from like the last 3 players on your 53, how that works. So the waiver, like, remember, we got the commission waiver wires and stuff like that. So it does matter for your roster. Weston Lyon, hashtag Mike. We've been talking about the draft since they stuffed the pass last season. I know. I've been talking about the draft. Like you get tired. I'm going to keep it 100 with you guys. I'm tired of talking about the draft. I already made my draft video for tomorrow, and I'm excited that I don't have to go onto my personal channel and talk about it because I'm tired of talking about the draft. I want it to get over with and then take a break from it because you're in it so much, and you get a couple months off, and then it's back to training camp, and then a couple weeks in the season, then we start all over again. But yeah, it's a lot of prospects. Wow, there are like 500 people, and it's so difficult to put it all in time to watch all these guys. So, like, I'll ask Ant-Man if I don't even know a guy, hey, thoughts on this guy, or TA, thoughts on this guy. They'll ask me on a guy because there's just so many that it's really hard. Even with Ant-Man, he spends – how many times a week do you guys do your college podcast? And you guys spend hours a week on it, and you still don't know everybody.
No, I only do one a week, but it takes me a full day, literally, from when I wake up to when I go to bed to prep a show, and that's just even get basic information in. So, yeah, it's tiring, and like you said, it happens quick. Like for us, because been over here in the UK, I try and do previews for the college season. So my season starts like 3 months before the college season starts, because there's 11 conferences. 11 weeks, 11 shows, trying to do players and stuff, and then straight into the season. So it's unrelenting. So I'm taking a break after the draft this year as well. I'm just having time away from pods for a few weeks, charging my batteries, and you can only do what you can do. You can just but it's fun. But at this point, I'm like you. I'm just relieved that it's here, so I can sit back and enjoy it. All these months of work that have gone in.
I was talking to my girlfriend, and she was like, "How's the schedule during the week for you?" For the NFL season. I said, you work 6 days a week, but then on Saturday, the time that you're not doing anything, you got to watch the games to watch the prospects. And you kind of get tired of football after a little bit because that's just your whole life during that time. Yeah. So, you're watching games maybe you don't care about because you're looking for a specific player. So it's just one of those things, man. That's how you do that. But we've been on for an hour. The draft is on Thursday. The next live stream will be live for the draft. Tell the folks about your channel, Ant-Man. Tell the folks about the draft. Excited, everything.
Yeah, so you can find us at Roar of the Lions UK. We are a group of Detroit Lions fans as advertised from over in the UK. If you want to come and check us out, get a little different take on the Lions from guys who come from a completely different country, then please do so. I know a lot of you have. Appreciate everyone who comes over and supports us. And as always to you, Mike, for supporting us. We really appreciate it. We will be live during draft weekend as well. We will be live for the whole of it. So even if you want to drop in for 10 minutes, say hello, you are more than welcome. You can come and find us on the channels. We'll be breaking down the picks, having loads of guests on, all sorts. So it's going to be good fun. So just to all of One Pride, enjoy this week. We spent a long time waiting for it. Brad Holmes is going to make his magic. And this time next week, we are all going to be hyped for next season. So whatever you're doing, whether you're staying at home, whether you're going to see Mike at the casino, any of this, have the best time this week. One Pride.
Again, we're going to be at the casino. Do not hesitate. If you see me, just come up to me. Hey, Mike, man, what's going on? We'll kick it. We'll talk some football. Take some pictures, have a good time, be there for the live show. There's going to be giveaways, a lot of gear giveaways. You can meet Herman Moore, hang out, meet Dosa Dion, Everything King, meet Devin Gardner. It's going to be a freaking epic time. It's free, unless you buy some drinks or something like that. But it's going to be a fun time. It's all about just hanging out, guys. We're doing a live watch party. We're hanging out. We're giving back to you. I love hanging out with the people. You don't get out that much when you live in freaking Holland. So come on down. Don't be scared. If you see me at training camp, you always come up and say what's up. I'm always right there. It's going to be a great time. Again, I post the information to Lions Nation Unite gear in the comments section. We're starting the whole thing. We're going to get this thing blowing up. I can't wait. I'll be wearing the gear on Thursday. I got my LNU hat. It's going to be everything I'm wearing is all camo. Everything I'm wearing is all LNU camo and Lions camo. So I'm excited for that because I'm a veteran. Again, show up. With that said, folks, the draft is nearly here. Next time we're live, it's going to be here. With that said, see you Thursday. Woo!
I feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle just to be me. Had to rise up just so they could see me. Did what I had to do just to feed me. And what was left over I put towards my dreaming. But the only thing in life that has meaning are the things you gotta work for, believe me. Take into your hands a plan. Your own hands can land your own brand. And damn, I feel like no one takes accountability. They want the credibility, convincingly unwilling to put in the hours it takes to get some power. Don't be f***ing sour. Take a cold shower. Scream until you're louder. Work until you're prouder. And f*** all the doubters, they're just your downers. I swear to God they all let me down. I always fought just to wear the crown. I'm off at these fucking clowns who were all taught they deserve an ounce. It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't